And Joe in the to have your very this is where if you come to the hill, you get right into the area here. There is a window because this area is called what? Can y'all? Moulin Rouge. Have you heard of the Moulin Rouge? Everybody's heard of the Moulin Rouge, right? It's prostitution was legal. So you come in Moulin, the steps up to the Paris is here. So the artists live here in this village. Who do they use for models?
Prostitutes.
You betcha. Have you ever heard of the Folies Bergère? What is the Folies Bergère? You may know. Folies Bergère is where the can-can started. The very first time the dance, the can-can, was done, okay? Radio City Music Hall dancers come from Folies Bergère. Folies Bergère today is still a performance done by women in a chorus. The women in Europe are topless. They are topless because this is all in this area. In Europe, is that looked down on? Not today. Their beaches are nude. Italy's beaches are nude. Spain's beaches are nude. They do not perceive that the way Americans do. We are called, when we travel to those places, if we expect them to be like us, that is called being ethnocentric, stuck in your own culture and not understanding their culture. Their culture does not look at it that way. I don't care what age they are topless on the beaches, okay? You go to their world, that's the way it is. So is this in any way disdainful to them? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Prostitution is not disdainful in Europe, in Amsterdam, in France, in all these places. No, it's not. The artists then used what women are going to take their clothes off for them to draw and paint. Prostitutes. You see that other women had to wear bathing gowns, right? So only a woman of what we term ill repute, right, would remove her clothing. So since this woman's clothing was removed, he was rejected, okay? So he does another one.
This was like the opposite of that.
Titian's Venus of Urbino, is it not? And this is Olympia. Olympia then is what? Yeah, she's a prostitute. Look at her looking at you. And do you see the flowers on her bed, which suggest what? Remember with Venus of Urbino?
She just had somebody?
Yes, it means a caller has just left. Now, look at the woman. Remember, you had the woman that was loyal in Venus of Urbino, but now look at the woman in this. What's different about her?
She's black.
You bet. And what
And
was going on?
enslaved.
Yes, yes. Possibly.
A good chance, yeah.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Could have been a paid employee. We don't know for sure. But it could suggest that, could it not? And what had the
1863.
big issue just been?
Well, in Paris, I don't think, like slavery was outlawed. Like here, it was 1865, but Paris, I think, is before us.
It was before.
Yeah.
It was before, but it was still an issue, was it not?
Of course, yeah, of course.
Absolutely.
It's still an issue today.
Oh, yeah. I mean, absolutely. Okay, so he says, influenced by Titian. Was he influenced by Titian? Or was he making a statement?
A statement.
Do you think so?
All art is a statement.
I think it'd be both.
Could be.
Expression.
Could absolutely be both.
For me, like, I'm not trying to cut you off or you up, but like for me, when I see things like that, like I see it like as a sculpture. Really, like the human form is like a sculpture to me. Like it is. You can't walk around. In a society like this, but in places around the world, it's like the human form is human form. It's it's what you come in.
In all other countries, artwork is taught from youth on.
Yeah.
Because they do not have a problem. But in the United States, I am not allowed to teach in public school any nude images. Not in the United States. Now, in any other country, is it that way? We're the only country. Why?
Because of just how society is. It's like things, I don't know. Society's messed up.
I believe sometimes there's a great ignorance about art. And I believe
about humanity.
that they look at something like this and what they see is called naked.
Yeah.
And what it really is nude.
Yeah.
There's a huge difference between nude and naked. Nude is to study the figure.
Yeah.
Naked is suggesting sexuality. And I believe that they make the assumption that all nudes are naked, and that's not so, because as an artist, can you really develop your skill as an artist if you don't know how to do the human figure?
No.
Never. And what's the most difficult subject for an artist to do?
Proportions and like stuff like that, like understanding.
And we call this, when we have a woman reclining in the nude, what do we call that? Odalisque. So is that the height of an artistic ability? Is odalisque. That's why all artists will have their odalisque images, and they are nude women reclining. When you recline, do the rules of proportion work? No, it's a visual. So there are two heights that an artist must obtain. One is to be able to do the proportion in a reclining figure, such as Michelangelo's creation, where he does Adam and God in the reclining positions. Most difficult. Next is called foreshortening. What was foreshortening?
Like the feet, like the guy, the feet was forward.
Feet up.
Yeah.
The depth of space.
Yeah.
Two most difficult things for artists to do. So if artists are very skilled, what are they going to be working on and doing?
The human body.
Absolutely. So, like I said, Manet is completely kicked out of the Paris Salon now. So how, again, will we get away with nudity? Nymphs. If we take it back to mythology and they aren't actually real people, how silly is that of us? And how silly is that in history that throughout time, if the figures are mythological, you're not doing a nude, but you're doing a nude.
It's to me.
Does that not
censorship.
insult your intellect just a little bit, people?
It's censorship in a way.
Absolutely. It is a form of censorship. You're right. Okay, but look at the time period. Here you have 3 women in a village. How are they dressed? Do you see how they are completely covered? Here we have Winslow Homer. This is absolutely unbelievable, actually. But you can see again, working in the hay. Here you have Thomas Eakins, the Gross Clinic. Oh, wait, what is this? An operation? This is the time period of realism. All of this is realism, okay? Here you have John Singer Sargent. We talked about him this morning in painting. The greatest portrait painter, I think, of all time. Notice how he just kind of, this is all kind of blurred and very simple, but then notice how he focuses in on what he's telling you, and he gets it so real, it looks like a photograph. I don't think there was ever a greater portrait painter, ever, than John Singer Sargent. Here we have Henry Tanner, The Thankful Poor. Now that is realism. This is genre. What did genre mean?
Subject matter, like a certain kind of like a style or subject matter
Of
or
everyday life, right?
yeah, for a certain
Just documenting everyday life. So rarely have we seen these documentations, okay?
and
This
at
is
that
huge.
time, hold on, excuse me.
Artists are kind of changing the world. Yes.
At that time, like I think I seen that one before, and